here. It's Tuesday, the 1st of June, 2021. And I got up a little bit late this morning because the boy and I were up last night. We started a new little project, but I want to get out here and see what we got for the temperature here. Get you guys the weather report. I saw Ken has said something about a barometer. I'd like to get a little weather station and start giving you better, but we're looking at about, looks like it is 72 degrees or 24 Celsius. It's real nice, beautiful day. But we had a real cool thing happen yesterday. Phil West came over. He's a real nice fella. I believe he said he was from Florida. And I've been wanting to get a bicycle for quite some time, but I'm never in a big hurry. And we had gone back and forth online, and he said he had one he couldn't drive because he was having some trouble with his knee, and he had bought it. And what was really cool, we went old school. we went old school on it. He's going to let me try it for a while, and if I like it, I could pay it. If not, I'll bring it back. So that was really cool. You don't see that too often anymore these days. But here's the machine. It's really cool. He did some stuff to it. I did take the little phone bag off. I want to get it mounted on there a little better. It had some things hanging. But when Wes was here, I took it for a ride, and it seemed to ride nice. He said, it needed a little bit of air in the tires. So I didn't pull my compressor out yet, but I have one. And I read on the side it takes 20 psi, so when my son gets up, he doesn't want me to do anything without him, so we'll do that when he wakes up. He's still sleeping. But we were up till about 11. We went over all the nuts and bolts and made sure everything was cinched down and tight. The cable for the brake was routed backwards, and the front brake was dragging. So I was looking at it, and my boy and I want him to kind of figure out what's going on. Well, we looked it over, and I showed him the cable. He didn't understand about that, but I said, no, it should be on the other side. It strangles if you turn the wheel to the one side. And the brake dragging was just in the adjustment on the disc brake, and it was Loctited, so it was on there like that since it was new. So it just needed scooted over. The inside of the caliper was just rubbing on the brake and actually deforming it out a little bit because the wheel wouldn't freewheel when you lifted it up off the ground. So it was a quick adjustment. We just got an Allen wrench, loosened that up, scooted it over. It had blue Loctite on it that we had to break, so we'll have to stop up and get some Loctite and re-Loctite that. But no hurry. We went over all the bolts just to cinch them and make sure they were tight. And then, of course, we did that. I didn't do the air in the tire yet because I got to get that out of the car, and we'll do that this morning. But my boy and I, after we cinched everything down, it was late. It was 10:30, 11. We took it for a ride. And then the sad thing that happened while we were riding, little Mama Kitty over there, I don't think you can see her right now, but she's right by the pile of dirt there. When we were riding over in the corner over there, one of her little brand new kitties that was just born, not really moving around too well yet, it was in the middle of the street. I don't know exactly where the nest is that she had him, but it was in the middle of the street, and he wasn't looking real good. He was moving, but he wasn't doing good at all. Now, nobody goes over there and really drives the car. There's no houses over there. So we just sort of left him. Hopefully she'd go over and pick him up and drag him. She seems to be a pretty good little mama with her, things. She's hunting right now. She's hunting for the mice right now. The other cool thing Wes was telling me, he said he knows a fellow that has goats, like a massive amount of goats, and that would be pretty cool if I could get a goat in here. I wouldn't even need a couple, even just one goat, and we'll get a dang steak and a chain and just put them in here and let them start eating all this grass. They'll eat it like crazy. I was keeping my dogs, and the way my dogs were, I had a lot of hunting dogs, and right around dark, they will bark. They'll do like these dogs here. They'll bark because they want to go hunting, right around dark. And where I had them, it was on the side of a hill, so it echoed. Well, there was a place away from the house that was a depression from the road, and it was depressed all around, just the way it was. It was like a big hill that was a good 7-8 feet high, and then there was this depression in the middle, and it was was it brambles and choked and all this stuff. It was just really bad. And my buddy Joe at the time, he's passed away now, younger than me, but he passed away, heart trouble. But he said, hey, I got some goats here, you can go ahead and have them. And we staked them down in this place, and I'm not kidding you, these dang things had this eaten down to the dirt in a matter of a week. I had 2 of them. We kept moving the chain every day, moved it farther out. And it was a big area. It was probably a good 60 feet long and 45 feet deep. And you had to walk up over the hill and then down, and then I put the dog boxes in there, and we limed it real good, and made them a good spot to lay down. I had real nice dog boxes that I made. I had them all set up to where the roof would come over and you could dump them out, because I always like to put them on wheat straw. It doesn't make the dust or anything like that. And after that, you couldn't hear them. You could not hear the dogs when they'd start howling. You could hear them from the road, but in the house you couldn't hear them anymore. So that was pretty cool. That was the goats were cool. So hopefully we can get a goat or 2 out here. If the guy can give us a good deal on them. I remember when I got them from my buddy, he gave them to me, and when I went to give them back, he said, "No, you can have them." He's like, "You can have them." So I had them for a while. I had them cleaning up lots of brush. I actually had a landscaping business, and then I would take them out to places and let them eat people's land, because there were a lot of city folks moving out to the country and they didn't know. So instead of using the equipment, they were cutting the grass over here, and I seen they were using the big metal blades, and right when they got up here, there were so many rocks and crap thrown in the grass and construction garbage, they ruined their machines. So that's why they're not here anymore. So hopefully things will work out. We'll get some goats in here. But I remember when I used to go up to the auctions when we were buying cows or pigs, whatever we were going to buy that year. You could see goats. Oh my goodness, they were just cheap. I was buying them for a buddy. My buddy said, "Hey, can you buy me some goats while you're up there?" And I says, "How many you want?" He says, I don't know, 8 or 10, something like that. He says, I want to grow them here, clear some brush, and then we're going to have a big barbecue on the 4th. I want to clear this whole area out, and we'll make Billy burgers and all this kind of stuff. And I said, okay. So there was a lot, and they sell things. When you go to these auctions, they do it a dollar amount by the 100. So when you get the weight of the goat, and they say 30 per 100, so every 100 pounds is $30. That's the way they auction them. Well, these 7 goats came up for sale. Not real big ones, just very young goats, and no nanny with them or anything. And it came out. They started the bidding off at 5 at 100. I'm not kidding you. And I threw my hand up, and nobody bid on them. Nobody, just me. So I got the dang things, and then when we got out of there, they came out to under $10 a piece, because they were kind of small. And I'll tell you what, by the time they grow fast. They're like a pig. Goat grows really quick. But I never liked to keep them around. I had a buddy that had one at his house. This thing was a real blinger. If you kept your eye on him, you were fine. But as soon as you walked up to his trailer and if you turned your head, he would butt you. That son of a gun would butt you every time, and he would just ram you. And he wasn't a real big goat. They got different kinds. Some goats get pretty big. Some just only get to a certain size. I guess his was like a pygmy, but it was a pain in the butt. This thing would butt you. But he wound up, he called me up. He says, I want you to come over to my barbecue. And I says, why? He says, because you're nemesis. We're going to eat him. And I said, I'll be over. I remember that was something we always did, was Billy burgers. And they eat good stuff. I mean, of course, they do eat. I mean, they eat any kind of brush. They eat the wood part of it, too, if there's stuff in there. They're just amazing. But I do want to show you that machine again. We tried, we were out last night. I noticed it was folded up, but it has this really cool little mirror. It's got there's the horn. I just adjust that a little bit. The light works really good. It's got the regular light, it's got the dim one, and then it's got the flicker, just like the kids. And the shifter works really good. It's got this kind of shifter, the derailleur, but the shifter was working flawlessly on our ride last night. We rode up by the guard shack. It's got a nice rack on it. I did raise the seat. Wes was saying, morning, sweetie. He was saying his knee hurt when I was riding it. With the seat was down about there. Yeah, it was making my knee hurt too. So I raised the seat up for me a little bit, and everything on it worked really good. No squeaks or rattles. It just seems to go really good. I was looking at the welds. It looks like they really made the welds nice. It's not cheap. When he did the fenders, made the fenders a little bit bigger, which is always nice. And I got this just so the kids and I can ride together. It's red. I'm not really a person for red or anything, but it's growing on me, red and black. But it is really smooth on the road. I mean, you hit bumps. The tires are, they don't feel like they're really down. This one feels like it has more air, but Wes had said they look low, but I'll check that. The boy should be up pretty soon, and then we're gonna check that. But that's really sweet, and price wasn't bad. I mean, we had looked at one before. My wife and I, when we were up in DeSoria, I saw one just similar to this one, and I was looking at it, and I wasn't too hot on the welds on it, and it just didn't look too cool. And the price was really low. It was actually less than this one as a used one, and it was so cool. We were talking to the young man at the store, and he come right out and he said, "Don't buy this brand." And, "Whoa, what's the matter?" He said, "No. These things they're breaking right off the bat. First day, it was a bad brand." But when I was looking at this one yesterday, you could see this one compared its quality. He got it from the S&M store, he said, and just the welds on it. The welds on it were really nice. I always look for that right away on any bicycle, because I built them. I was building bicycles for a while in California, and putting those little 50 and 80 cc motors on them, and making them out of rigid. I had a guy that was doing the, I forget the type of paint they call it, but they charge the frame and then they just put the dust in the air and this paint sticks to it. And I was putting them together with the motor and all the parts, and I was going down to the a used, like a bicycle boneyard, and buying the wheels and seats and stuff like that, getting used ones for cheap. I love these seats that got the springs in them, and I was putting these together for usually it would cost me around $200, and I was getting anywhere from $500 to $800 for these things, and my first ones I never sold. I cut the metal up and scrapped them because my welds, I hadn't welded in years, and I went out and bought the welder, nice Lincoln welder like I used when I was younger, and they just stick weld, and they just weren't good. So then I made a really nice jig, and I practiced a little bit, because welding around a tube, you want to be real careful, and I got better. The welds got really good, and got myself an air grinder and used to clean them up really good, and then I would sandblast them so it would give it a nice dullish finish. But I made beach cruisers. I made a whole bunch of them. The the rack that I made to hold the pieces together was adjustable. It was basically like a pegboard, and I could bolt the clamps in from the other side. And it was all half-inch rigid and three-quarter rigid. I'd make them out of, and I had hole saws to cut them and stuff. But I got really good at the welding, and I never got any complaints. I never got a single bike back. They didn't have these big tired ones back then. This is something just since I've been here. At least I never saw them when I was in the States. But I think that's pretty cool. That's another way to do the suspension, I'll tell you. That's a way to take care of some bumps. Because when I was riding it, it seemed to just eat the bumps. There's little bumps here, not bad. But we took it over there. It would definitely probably be pretty good on sand, I would think, compared to other bikes. This would be a good tire for a beach cruiser, because you could drive it right on the sand. This one, though, the way they did the frame, there'd be very little room for a motor if you decided to put a motor in there. But motor would be cool. I like a motor on everything. So far, looking at it, I really like it. He gave a decent price on it. I have been looking at one from Battle, and was going to buy that. It was a little bit less than this one, but this one's just too cool. It'll be the first red anything. I always bought my cars either white or silver, and motorcycles were always black. I had a maroon one, though. I had a Suzuki that was maroon, but I always got the either stock colors on the bike. But this is the first two-wheeled machine I ever had that was red or car. So, but like I say, it's growing on me. It's definitely growing on me. What do you think, guys? Looks pretty cool. But at least it fits. I have a lot of problems with things fitting me, bikes and everything, but this one seems to fit good. I do have the seat post up. The line, there's a line on there that says do not raise it up past this line, and I raised it up to the line, and then I scooted it down a little bit. I scooted it down past the bracket, and it seems to be pretty good. It seems to be okay. But I don't know. I saw this on here. It's got the American flag designed in America, but this is. I'm sure it's made sense. There's the brake. The adjustment was right here. It was this one right here, and there's a slot in here. So I scooted it over because this brake was actually being shoved over and rubbing, which is fixed. The back one was fine. The derailleur looks good. Most all of the bolts on it were tight. I tightened up these ones a little bit, and then this one was a little loose. I tightened this one down. But all the rest of these, I just put the tool in it just to make sure it was cinched up. I went over every single bolt. I'm going to loosen this seat a little bit, lean it forward this morning, but the distance to the back is just fine. It's absorbing the bumps good. But very, very cool machine, and I know he didn't ride it much, because if you look at these tires, they still got all the stuff on them. They are different to ride, though, guys. If you ride one of these, my son, he was zooming on his scooter last night, and when you go around the corner on these, it's kind of weird. It's almost like you're drifting on the front end. So when I was going around the corner here, because I can, this is a downhill, so you get up some speed. So we went around a couple times, and it took me about the fourth time before I was confident on really whipping around a corner, because I was actually braking and trying to straighten out, because it feels really weird when you get on the side of this tire. But the fourth time around, I come down at a pretty good speed, and then you just got to move your weight over. You got to do it similar to a motorcycle. You got to get your weight over, and I had it way on the edge of the tire, so that was kind of cool. But it seems to go good. I was thinking with the big tire, you would be, you'd be tractoring it. You'd really be having to put the power to it all the time. But it seems to coast well at 20 psi. It's not even at 20 psi. Wes said that they looked a little low to him. But last night, 11 o'clock, I didn't want to pull out the compressor and all that stuff out of the car. So And then Matty, he kind of, well, he always has to help me with this stuff and hand me tools, and he tightens stuff himself. And I was showing him, how this works and why this is doing this, and trying to let him see what's up. We also adjusted the back rack, that really cool rack on the back, because it just wasn't quite centered. And that could have been because when I loosened it to raise the seat, it could have went off. So we did loosen the lower bolts so that it could let the stress off of it. And we put that a little more in the middle. But the fenders are cool. It's just all kinds of cool. We're liking it. So, but that's it, guys. The Red Ryder. It looks like it needs a sidecar and a motor. So, new toy to play with, guys. Don't forget to pray for each other. And this is Rick Shaw out.